to another video. This is going to be my September review of my brokerage account. Obviously, it's a couple days late. Just been pretty busy with work, so things happen. Uh, anyway, so what's going to be covered? First, we're going to kind of look at how much I invested for the month. Do a quick dashboard overview, look at how the portfolio has been moving and grooving. Then moving on to some annual goals, checking in on how I'm doing on those, look at my investment graphs. And then finally, we'll check out the September dividend income for the month. Spoiler, it was the best month I've ever had, which I'm pretty fired up about. It's fun to kind of see how things are growing, see how my positions are growing, and see how much the dividends are changing. Obviously, I just started this a few months ago, so and I've been investing a lot of my own personal savings. So the dividends are going to keep growing pretty fast. I think I'm probably going to be starting to taper down into a more consistent lower level of investments per month. So might not be as drastic moving forward, but it's a good starting point. I'm excited to see how this changes over time, especially with just the fact that these dividends are reinvesting. And then finally, I have some retirement projection graphs up that I'll just kind of quickly go through so you can see how maybe I'm looking at this wrong. I'd love to hear what anyone else has to think and say on the matter. But I like looking at these retirement graphs. It kind of keeps me honest. It gets me excited about how I'm investing, how things could potentially project in the future. So, yeah, just like looking at those. Alrighty. So let's just dive into it, make it short and sweet. So we'll go to my monthly income, expense, and investment page, monthly IEI page. And for the month of September, my income was slightly less than what it's been. Honestly, it was just kind of a slow month in sales, so that's what happens. It's kind of the nature of the beast. My expenses, though, I was able to keep down from what I typically have, so I'm happy with that. I think that's going to be something I'm going to continue working on as I go forward. And then my investments for the month of September were pretty high, pretty substantial, $11,000 compared to how much? $7,000 in August, $11,000 in July, and June was $8,000. So one of the higher months, actually 11.8. Didn't beat the all-time record, but pretty close. So where did I actually invest that? Technically, it was 87% of my income. Obviously, some of that was from my savings, not really just from this. But where I invested this was primarily my brokerage account. My 401k, I'm almost at the maximum for the year, which is awesome. That's kind of a goal that necessarily wasn't on my annual goals, but something that I've always been kind of striving to hit at some point in time. Like trying to max out my 401k contributions for a year. I'm going to do that this year, which is awesome. Acorns, $33, HSA, just under $300. And so when we look at how the dashboard has performed over the month, obviously this is a few days late, so it's a little bit different. And I am up 17%, nearly $9,000 portfolio gain. A $61,000 portfolio value. I actually have the specific value for the month of September at the end of the month of September in this investment graph, so we can check that out. But right now it's worth $61,000. My yearly dividend estimated income is over $1,000, which is pretty insane to think about. Still have the 20 holdings, and my SPAC's money market interest is right here, so over $1,000 so far year to date. When you look at my portfolio breakdown, I'm getting closer to where I wanted to be with these positions like DGRO, SCHD, and FXAIX really making up the bulk of my portfolio. I'm continuing to invest weekly into FXAIX and SCHD and DGRO. So that's really where I'm going to continue investing. It's just simple. When you see all these market crashes and when you're just looking at one specific stock, it can really make you question what the hell you were doing investing in it. And then obviously when they do great, it's awesome too. So I don't know. I just think that carefree, invest in solid mutual funds and index funds, and set it and forget it. I feel like that's kind of the name of the game here. I don't want to be thinking about this whenever I get to the point when I retire. I just want to be able to retire and know that my money's going to be working for me and I'm not going to have these crazy swings. So that's kind of where I think these ETFs and mutual funds kind of stack up. So right now my total investments are worth just under $260,000, which is pretty cool. It's been getting up there. I obviously wanted to hit this 250,000 mark, so feeling pretty good about that. This was my old 401k. This is my new company's 401k, Roth IRA, obviously, and Acorns account. So total, I have between my investments and cash, I have just under $420,000. When we look at the holdings specifically, Equifax took a nasty hit yesterday. I saw that it was down like 8 to 9% on some news that came out around FICO, which obviously wasn't necessarily anticipated. So we'll see how things change with that. But I just didn't feel like I needed to necessarily sell on one of those fear days when the specific stock goes down 10%. I believe in the company, and we'll see what happens. I'll do more research on what happened, but UNH is up pretty significantly, 30%, a dollar gain of $764. DGRO is doing great. SCHD has been kind of up and down. It's been a roller coaster. I'm back in the green on it. Right now, I know it's been a tough year. The beauty of SCHD is that they kind of, reposition itself every year on an annual basis. So I know it's a good investment for the long term. I like the dividends. So right now I'm just accruing shares. I know I'm in my accumulation phase, making sure that a lot of it's just my money working, not necessarily the market doing the work for me. So I'm just going to keep doing what I'm doing and go from there. HIMS having a tough day, but this just kind of bend the stock position. Overall, I'm up 136%, nearly $700. You can kind of see the rest. FXAIX is doing great. It passed the $14,000 mark. Still investing weekly $25. And then when there's bigger drops, I'll invest a larger sum of money, like $400, $500 into it. But I know that I can just dollar cost average into this position. Same thing with SCHD and DGRO. I don't have a automatic purchase in place like I do for FXAIX, but maybe that's something I'll look into in the near future. Right now, I'm just still pretty hands-on, so I don't mind looking at how the market's doing and how the positions are doing and investing when I feel like it's the right time. And now, where am I going from there? Annual goals. All right, cool. So, annual goals. My first one was to hit $30,000 invested within the 6-month time frame. And as you can see, I'm nearly there. I should hit it based off of how I've been investing over the past 4 months in the month of October, which will be great. I'll probably just change this and boost it up so I can just see how it compares to the graph. Maybe I'll throw it up to 40,000, but I'll have completed my goal, which will be nice. I'm excited for that. Trying to just complete all of my annual goals every year. It'll be fun to do this going into the new year when I have a full 12-month sort of plan in place. Goal number 2 is to invest $12,000 into both SCHD and DGRO by the end of the year. I was able to complete that for SCHD. I'm still dollar cost averaging into DGRO, so I have not completed that yet, but obviously I plan on getting there, and it's looking like I will, so feel good about that. And goal number 3 was actually just to hit a $250,000 total investment value by the end of the year, and I've done that. Obviously, the market's been doing great, so it's been kind of easy. But, obviously I had to invest a fair amount, a lump sum into this position to get here. So I'm happy with it. Here's my goals for my 30s still: hit $500,000 in investments and to receive $1,000 in total dividends in a single month. I feel pretty confident about this. I'm curious to know if this will be possible or not, but I think there's a chance. We'll see. We'll see how I keep investing. The main thing that's kind of the elephant in the room is I'm still trying to purchase a house. So that will shake things up a significant amount when I have a mortgage that I have to be paying for. But right now, these are my goals. This is kind of my plan. I know that like I'm not going to be able to invest like I've been doing every single month. So I know that that's coming down. I'm completely aware of it, and that's the way it's going to go. Average personal monthly expenses. So I'm tracking this because I want to be able to create a better budget for myself going into next year. But right now, I just didn't know. I knew I spent less than I make, or spent less than I made usually over the past couple years. I've always felt pretty good about that, but I never actually tracked it. So now I'm really tracking to see how my expenses, my personal expenses, add up month over month. I'm looking at some averages between them. So like this is the average of July, August, and September. So just over $4,000. This is tracking my last 2 months. So right here is tracking August to July. This one tracks July and June. So getting this down a little bit, trying to figure this out so that I can be more educated once I get to the new year and I start really tracking to see if I can build a budget around things. And then I'm going to keep track of this year over year. It'll be interesting to see how that changes. My average brokerage investments month over month, this is where I'm at. Same concept. I just wanted to track how this changes month over month, year over year. And it'll just keep me on top of things. You know, I had this account for a while. I had a certain amount invested, and then I kind of just set it and forget it originally. And so I think this will just keep me engaged, and yeah, interested in what I'm doing. So that's my annual goal breakdown. I'm almost there. I'm feeling pretty good about hitting all of them. I think they were pretty easy goals, but sometimes it's just nice to hit your goal and move on. Investment graphs now. All right. So this was actually the value at the end of September, before the markets opened on October 1st. So you can see how it's changing over time. I really like looking at graphs. It's a good like macro level view of how your investments have changed over time. So it's just something that will keep me consistent, keep me engaged, keep saying that. But I like being involved in this way. I like seeing how this stuff is changing. I know this is going to have some changes over time, especially right now in this accumulation phase. But yeah, it's just going to be something that I can look back on and be excited and proud, hopefully, of how I've invested over time. We'll see, though. Total investment graph. So overall, just under $20,000, $18,000 change. Pretty cool. Between the month of August and September, or I guess through the month of September. So nearly $20,000 change is pretty dramatic, you know, like that's more than I make in a month, which is pretty cool to see sort of how this is doing more than what I do. I mean, granted, 11,000 of that was my own input, but you know, $7,000 is still no easy feat to have in gains per month. So feel great about that. This last graph really doesn't matter yet. It's just going to be total dividends per year, and that'll just be fun to see how my dividends change over time. And now we'll go to the dividend calendar. So as you can see, it was a busy month with dividends. A lot of my positions are on that June, September, December, March time frame. And so overall, you can see, I mean, positions are growing over time. These dividend positions are growing over time. Obviously, I'm going to be planning to remove some of these positions at some point, probably like this, maybe target, all of that. But anyway, you can still see that the reinvestments are doing their work. They're starting to grow their positions. this was just a capital gain from FBGRX, the mutual fund, but still wanted to put it in there. I reinvested it into the position, just like everything else. And the major differences, major kind of movers for the month of September in dividends was SCHD, which obviously this was a huge change because I invested a lot of money over the past 3 months into SCHD, nearly $12,000. So big change from the $12.62. But as I start to taper that down and make it a more reasonable amount invested into that position month over month, this will probably have less dramatic changes and over time. But yeah, really happy with $105. You know, like when you really look at my monthly income expense and investment page, like $105 pays for, you know, nearly my entire medical and health expenses for the month. Pays for all my miscellaneous expenses for the month, nearly all of my groceries. And when you look at my dividend income over the entire month, it did pay for all the grocery expenses and my medical expenses for the month. So just fun to look at and see how I could potentially use this in the future. Obviously, I want this to continue growing and building my positions. But yeah, just nice to see that, you know, my positions are working for me just as much as I'm working for them. DGRO was the next biggest after SCHD and FBGRX. DGRO was $52 dividend, which, yeah, good start. I know that the amount that I'll be receiving from my dividends with DGRO is less. That's just the nature of the index fund. But you have a little bit more growth typically, so be a good kind of mix between them. I really like having SCHD and DGRO in the mix in my positions. You know, actually, I think I might still have this up. Like when you look at the fund overlap, it's great because there's not that much of an overlap, just 18%. So it's a lot of diversification between the two positions. You know, there's 397 holdings in DGRO. There's 103 in SCHD, so it's good to be able to capture a lot more of the market. DGRO has a lot more in the tech and finance space, which is great. So I'm capturing some of that, especially right now when the tech market has been so hot. It's good to capture some of that. Obviously, I'm getting that with FXAIX as well, but yeah, just like the position. And so that is really all of my dividend information. This was the interest I made in that money market fund. And I've added this in now too, the dividend totals for the year. My money market fund interest for the year total between these two. And then I'm tracking my highest dividend month. So obviously that was the month of September per year. And what my average dividends per month is. That's what I'm going to be tracking. I can see, and then I'll have that in this dividend history page as well, and then I'll just continue to grow it. So 2026 will just go right under here. This will actually be what I update. I'll just copy paste this over. Yeah, this actually should be updated, but whatever, doesn't really matter. That's just yeah. So last thing that I have been doing and I like to do is just kind of have these projections. So I use the NerdWallet retirement calculator. I think it's pretty cool how you can see how this changes over time. But first calculator I built was just, you know, $257,000, right? That's how much I have invested right now. What would happen if I invested no money in it for the remainder of my working career? So say I retired at the age of 67. Right now, my annual pre-tax income is around $200,000. It's not exact, so it's probably honestly a little less. I'm just having a good year. Current retirement savings is $257,000. So what if I contributed $0? And when I retired, I needed 80% of my pre-retirement income, retirement age, life expectancy, what my pre-retirement rate of return is, post-retirement, inflation, annual income increase, etc. And so right now I can see that I'd have $6.2 million in investments potentially by the age of 67. And so I'm nearly double what it says I'd need with that 80% pre-retirement income and all of that. So feels pretty good that I'm kind of at that coast fire, where you don't necessarily need to be investing anymore in order to retire, which feels good. But I don't want to work until I'm 67. Ideally, like why I have this brokerage account is so I can retire early. So I had another investment calculator, retirement calculator brought up. And this is same idea, except I am contributing $3,500 on average per month, continuing to do that. And I started to change my retirement age, and you can start to see how this starts to play out. Like at the age of 55, my current path is $5.7 million with that $3,500 contribution. Recommended would be 4.36, and you can see I still grow my money at the point of 55. So this is just going to be something I track a little bit. If I change my retirement age, like when could I not retire? When would I not have enough money with these projections? Obviously, these are just projections, so who knows? But let's say I change it to 53. I still have enough potentially to live off of for the remainder of my life at that point. But if I go to 50, I don't. So right now, so 53 is my projected retirement age, potentially like when I could retire, which is pretty cool. I'm excited to see how this changes over time. Maybe I won't do this every month, but because there won't be that dramatic of changes. But 3 years down the line, if I'm investing a lot of money and I'm doing even more than this potentially, how could this change? Maybe my retirement age in this projection drops from 53 to 50. But on the flip side, if I'm contributing less per month, maybe it shoots up to 62. So I just kind of like looking at these. I love these calculators. They're pretty fun, and I don't know, lets you kind of daydream a little bit on how things are going to shape out. But yeah, that's everything for this video. Please let me know what you guys think. If you guys have any insight on the positions that I have, if you think that I could be doing anything differently, if you guys have any other cool tips or tricks to stay engaged and stay motivated to invest, I'd love to hear about it. Please leave some comments in the comment section down below. Like and subscribe if you want to watch how this changes over time. All right, thanks for listening. See ya.